There we go. Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of the BCS Sports Show. Without the B, this is the CS Sports Show, I guess. But
I mean, could be the
kinda.
BC Sports Show technically.
The BC would be me and Bryce.
I also have a B to start my
That is
name, my legal name.
I guess that is true, huh? So should we be the BCB then?
The BC
I don't know.
sounds like
Well,
a drug.
It is
Put you on BCB.
it's the new PCP, dude. All right, welcome everyone to another episode. We're back. We're gonna talk some NFL. Sorry for the hoarse voice. My son got me sick. Welcome to parenthood. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to be fair, if I look outside, there's probably fire. So
That's true. You're dealing with fire. We got some snow last night. It's we got
we're running out of water down here because of a fish. I mean, we're breaking new ground over
we're
here.
just surviving out here, dude.
There's fires. I'm surrounded by flames.
Everything is fine. You're the meme. You're the dog meme, dude.
Yeah, I'm the dog meme.
This is
Apparently,
fun.
the devil came for LA Soul when it should be burning down Kansas City for Patrick Mahomes.
It got it mixed up. Maybe
I'm going to say this. With all these fires, the Rams or Chargers better win the goddamn Super Bowl. So the devil came early for cashing that check. Rams Chargers Super Bowl. Watch. It's going to happen because of the fires.
God, I would hate that so much. You know how shitty of a Super Bowl that would be?
You know how hilarious of a Super Bowl that would be
God.
for me?
Jim Harbaugh is insufferable as it is, dude.
Jim Harbaugh could be the first coach to win a college championship one year and a Super Bowl ring the next.
That would honestly be insane, though. That's kind of nutty.
Could you imagine? The 5 fans of the Chargers wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
I know, that's the thing is, like, no one in LA gives a shit about football. So it's like...
No, they care. They care. They just don't care about the Rams and the Chargers.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they all are transplants from other places that care about other teams.
Because no one above the age of, like, 20 has had a team... knows LA at the team. That's why there's all these other fans.
I'm now I gotta find out. Ranking NFL fan bases from worst to best. Yahoo, what you got? Who's dead last? That's all I care about. Commanders, Chargers, Jags, Jets. Hey, the Rams might actually be up here a little bit.
I think the Rams had a following.
Hold on. This list is bullshit as the Buffalo Bills at 25. No, you're wrong.
Oh. Okay.
Bills fans are a different breed. They're the best.
As you know, I'm in NFL fan free agency, and the Bills are on the top of our.
That is true. Have you filled out the form yet?
For the Broncos? Fuck no.
Just whoever. I don't. Whatever.
My playoff team for the last couple of years has always been the Bills because my buddy's a Bills fan, and I got permission from another Bills fan to join the Bills bandwagon.
Wait, that means you're against me this week. You son of a bitch.
If they win, I don't care.
Yeah, I know. Thing is, what's funny is I'm not even going to be watching the game this weekend, which feels like heresy because it's been 10 years, but of course they play at the same exact time a Magic tournament starts for a regional qualifier.
Just watch it on your phone.
I will be in between rounds, yeah, but...
You'll probably get back before it's over, that's the funny thing.
Oh, they start at the exact same time.
Are you the middle game?
No, they're the early game. We're 11 a.m. on Sunday. My tournament starts at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, ew. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, no.
I was so pissed. I'm like, that's literally the worst time slot for me, NFL. I wanted the Saturday night.
I'm surprised they didn't give you guys a Saturday night, honestly.
I am too. It's really weird. Like
they gave it to Houston.
Houston has the Saturday afternoon. The night one is Ravens Steelers.
Oh, on Prime?
Yes. Yeah. But it is kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's just a rematch from last week.
It is. That's weird. Though, I guess the teams were trying last week, too. Alright. So, I guess, in terms of the playoffs, who you got this week? We have to make some picks.
Yeah, we can just fill out a bracket.
Yeah. Who you got? Texans, Chargers. The Clippers, the Clippers. The Nuggets are playing the Clippers right now, so my brain's confused. The Chargers are favored by 3 in Houston.
I'm taking the Chargers.
I think I will too. Houston's been terrible the last couple weeks, and Jim Harbaugh is like, I don't understand what kind of crazy voodoo magic he has to just be. He's just a really good coach, even though he's kind of insufferable as a personality to me.
Okay.
Then we got the Ravens favored by 9.5 against the Steelers. Are we gonna see Danger Russ, dude? Is he gonna cook? Is Russ gonna
Russ
cook, dude?
Danger Wes Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah,
I
dude.
think
I
I
think
think the Ravens. I dare I say I think the Ravens might win that one.
I think the Ravens are gonna kill the Steelers. Like absolutely destroy them. All right. Next pick, we don't really have to talk too much about it. The Broncos are going to beat the Bills, obviously, by 40.
Yeah, totally.
Hey,
Totally.
we beat the Chiefs 38-0 last week. Just throwing that out there.
You know what? I'm gonna say this about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think my Bills will win.
Yeah, your Bills, yep.
However,
Okay.
I also thought when Tim Tebow started that there was no way in hell
That he beat the Steelers.
the Steelers would win. So you know what?
That was one of the greatest moments when I was in college. Me and my roommate, drunk as hell, watching Tim Tebow throw that slant to Demaryius Thomas. Oh my god. I don't know if I've ever been so hyped for a play in a football game.
So he might join the legendary Tim Tebow.
Hey, Bo Nix, just hold on. This season, let me just pull up the stats. And he's a rookie, okay? 29 passing touchdowns to go along with what was it? 34 rushing touchdowns. Okay? He had 33 touchdowns as a rookie, completed 66% of his passes. Tom Brady. That's all I'm saying. We have Tom Brady 2.0.
I mean, he's been good. I can't say he's been better than Caleb Williams.
He has. Like, out of all the rookies, he's been second behind Jaden Daniels when it comes to rookies. The only thing is he throws a lot behind the line of scrimmage and a lot of checkdowns, more than I like, but that also might be a Sean Payton coaching him type of thing. Like, doesn't want to make mistakes, but I don't know. I want the Broncos to win, but I do think they lose to the Bills. I think Bills win. I think it ends up being pretty close, but I think Bills win.
It's okay, champ.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, we made it to the playoffs. It's been 9 years. I was talking to my wife about this. The last time we were in the playoffs, I was not even dating her, and we've been married for 5 years. You know how insane that is? The Broncos had a playoff drought longer than my dating of my wife. And she was like, "There's no way that's right." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is 100% right." We started dating July after they went to the playoffs last.
Hey, at least you're. Oh wait, so that was when they won the Super Bowl.
That was when they won the Super Bowl. We started dating the July after that.
God damn!
It's been so long. It's been so long.
It's like they did. She's like, "No, that's not right."
No, she did not believe me, and I'm like, "No, here are the dates. It is true. We have not been dating while the Broncos have been in the playoffs, and we've moved 5 times since then. It's been insane."
So really, it's your fault that your team hasn't won.
It might be, honestly. I don't know. It's worth it. Fuck the Broncos. All right.
Damn. All right.
All right. We have Rams Vikings. I mean, the Vikings might be the best team in the NFC potentially.
Yeah, but hear me out.
Okay.
The Rams have the power of tragedy on their side.
That is true. The Chargers do too. Yeah, that is.
The Chargers Rams have the power of tragedy on their side, and we know what happens when tragedy strikes in sports. Crazy shit happens. This might be the all LA Super Bowl.
It could be. That game might be in Arizona this week. Apparently, that's their backup plan is to play in Phoenix. Yeah. So,
which I think really honestly and hilariously, I think that screws with both teams because LA has a giant Vikings fan base.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So,
that one was really good.
Both teams, which is a rare thing to have happen.
That is weird. All right, but yeah, I got the Vikings in that one. I understand the whole tragedy thing, but the Vikings.
I'm gonna take the Rams strictly because of plot.
Just for the plot armor, dude.
Just for the plot armor.
The plot armor.
Just for plot.
Just for plot. And then somehow the 3-6 matchup is the Buccaneers Commanders.
Bucks.
The Bucks are why are the Bucks the 3 seed? How is that possible?
Because the Rams didn't give a shit.
I know, but like the Bucks aren't good. They're 10-7. I guess they're kind of good. Oh, the NFC just sucks. That's all it is.
And like I said, it's because the Rams didn't care. The Rams started Jimmy Garoppolo and still almost won, but
that is true.
It was like, I want my guys healthy, and I don't care who. Literally, his logic was, I don't care who the hell we play.
And honestly, I kind of get it, because I guess their bye week was week 6, so they've been going like 10, 12 straight weeks or whatever, so I actually understand. Usually I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? But this one kind of makes sense. Plus, like, yeah, you're playing the Vikings, but also it's Sam Darnold, which...
Yeah, I was going to say, do you really want to take Sam Darnold, or do you want to play, the upstart rookie who's cocky with?
Yeah, that's true. Jaden Daniels is so good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got the Commanders in that one. I like the rookie.
I got the Bucks. I just think I think Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield will outplay. I think it'll be close though.
It will be, yeah. I think that honestly might end up being the best game, because I think that might be the closest game of all of these. But I'm going with my Commanders. That's my second team, because I used to live in DC. So I'm a halfway Commanders fan. All right, last one. We got Eagles Packers.
Fly Eagles fly.
Yeah, I agree. Fly Eagles fly. Has Jordan Love been hurt? I know Jalen Hurts got his brain scraped. Yeah.
I think that team's just better.
I
think if they had to go to, if they had to start Kenny Pickett, all they're gonna do is hand the ball off to Saquon.
That's true. They do have the best running back in the league, so that helps a lot. It is
kind of like Kenny Pickett can't throw either. It's like he can throw.
Yeah, you probably just don't want him throwing, because he's
like he might just like all
decisions.
I mean, all you have to do is just like, okay, cool. All we're gonna do is we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna run a couple play actions. Old school.
Mm-hmm.
Old school.
Old school bootleg football, dude.
Yeah. Old school Mike Shanahan football.
Yep. It's funny listening to like podcasts and all that other stuff. The Eagles are 14-3, and I feel like I have not heard anything about them this year. Like I
kept saying, are they over? Because we kept saying, were they overrated?
Right.
Would Nick Sirianni get fired?
And then they end up 14-3. Like we talked about the Vikings, the Lions, the Bills, the Chiefs as like the Super Bowl favorites, but no, like I haven't heard anyone mention the Eagles, and they went 14-3 this year.
Isn't that where you kind of want to be?
Probably, yeah. Like honestly, kind of underrated compared to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They have the highest point differential in the NFL.
They might.
Second highest.
Oh,
wow, yeah, behind the Lions, second highest. That's crazy. All right, so yeah, games this weekend will be fun. We'll see what happens. So who ends up? So with the so the Chiefs and the Lions will end up playing whoever's the lowest remaining seed. Got it. So we don't know who they would end up playing.
Yep.
All right. You said you had an NFL draft theory?
Or I do.
Or a hot take or something?
I have a hot take.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
I think the Giants will get Sidor.
I think that makes sense.
The third pick.
You said that because they're the third pick, right?
Because here's my theory.
Okay.
I think Cleveland's in a position to take a quarterback, but I don't think they necessarily want to.
True.
So what I think is going to ultimately happen is Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to go. We'll do one of two things. Either A, they're going to do they'll do the thing of we'll take Travis Hunter and we'll give Mayo Boy an actual number one receiver. Move Calvin Ridley to number 2, and kind of because hilariously their number 2 or 3 receiver was actually sneaky good. Hilariously enough, in terms of touchdowns.
Yes, but he didn't catch a whole lot of balls. He was basically just touchdowns.
But he could score.
Yeah,
but he could score.
Yeah.
So I think if they move him to kind of like a slot spot where like he can just kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might be a little more competent.
Could be. It's Westbrook Akine is the guy. Yeah.
But the flip side is they could take. I don't think they're going to take Shador number 1. I think they'll take Cam Ward number 1.
Agreed.
Meaning, Cleveland's going to do one of two things. Cleveland could take Travis Hunter, which probably a good move.
I think so.
Or I think they trade the pick to like New England, who will draft Travis Hunter.
Interesting. Yeah, because New England has their quarterback. So if anyone is moving up, like between like the next couple teams, New England, Jacksonville, Panthers, Bears, like the other teams in the top 10, that they have their quarterback. So then you're left with the Raiders, Jets, Saints as the teams that would move up to take a quarterback. And honestly, I don't know if any of them would, considering, one, from what I've heard, this is a relatively weak quarterback draft class, like as good as Shador and Cam Ward is.
It kind of falls off. It's a good one if you kind of want to take one and sort of work with it.
Right. But like from what I've heard is basically like if those two guys were in last year's draft, they'd be like in the Bo Nix range. Like they would be a solid like maybe 4th or 5th quarterback off the board instead of 1st or 2nd like they are this year.
Right. So I could see realistically if Cleveland sort of like we don't want a quarterback, but they could, because the reason why I say like Cleveland's in an interesting spot is if Cleveland wants to move down and New England wants to move up, which I think is pretty likely. I think Cleveland could get a decent enough haul from New England. Not a great one necessarily, where it's like I don't think they'll get like a ton of picks, but I could see them getting maybe 2 first rounds.
Right. Yeah.
Which would probably behoove them a little bit more. Because New England, I think, will be a little better with Shador in a full year. Drake May, or not Shador, with Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be in the situation of like Carolina, where it's like they'll get the number 1 pick. I think Cleveland will probably have whatever pick they get next year, and probably I'll say 11, 12, between 11 and 13. I think they'll be kind of like around there next year. But I don't think it's a giant thing for them.
Right.
But I could see New England moving up into that spot the only thing, like I said, I can kind of see Tennessee being like, we'll take Cam Ward. But I think 1-2 is going to be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and I think Shador's safe. Because because my whole thing is I think Deion's very much to be like, hey, he's not going to Cleveland. Don't bother.
And that's what's kind of been rumored, right? Is that Shador will go to the Giants. He will not go to Cleveland. He will not go to Tennessee. That's like been
that's
like
what I'm thinking.
The little feelers they've been throwing out there. And I know Deion has denied it, but come on.
I have a hunch that's kind of like, I think it sort of lines up where it's like, hey, we because one, it's the whole thing too of like, I think Deion loves the idea of Shador rubbing it in Jerry's face twice a year.
Ooh, yeah. Also, just being in New York in general.
And being in New York is good. And plus, too, and I know Deion sort of denied it, but I think, too, it opens the door for Deion to possibly be the Giants head coach next year if he wants to. I know he says he doesn't. And I know he says he doesn't.
And the Giants are officially retaining Dable.
They're retaining Dable. So it is sort of like, it has that whole, like, you can kind of see the pieces fall of, oh, hey, we drafted Shador. Deion, you want to leave Colorado?
I mean, they'd have to pay him a lot of money.
Which I think they could, but I don't think Deion necessarily wants to leave Colorado. I think he enjoys. I think Deion's found his calling in college.
I think he has too. I love Deion. I do not think his thing works with professionals. No. I think it works great for college kids and the parents of those college kids. But I do not think it would work very well in an NFL locker room.
Because the reason why it works is because, as I've heard from Ricky Williams, because he recruits for Texas, is the whole thing of like, the kids don't know who I am, but their parents do.
Right, exactly.
And the parents are going to, and mind you, there are a lot of Cowboys fans from that era who love Deion and will slap their kid upside the head and say, you listen to what Coach Sanders has to say regardless, boy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do think Deion's definitely found his college is where he belongs, and he seems to really like Boulder, which is awesome. Because, well, first of all, Boulder's awesome in general, so like you have to kind of be crazy not to like it. But yeah, And I think you're right. I think Shador to the Giants is probably most likely. I do think Cam Ward probably goes number one to the Titans because are we
It's
really
just
excited about Will Levis? Like
I,
second rounder, sure, but
but the whole thing, and this is sort of like my thing, and where I'm like, I think this is very intriguing because if you wanted to argue, and if you want, you could make the argument, and Tennessee is going to have a new GM and a new head coach.
it's true.
If
Yeah.
I'm that GM, what would I rather do? Do I want to waste that 1 of 1 on a quarterback that's kind of, let's say, a C average at best?
You're talking Will Levis.
No, I'm saying like drafting Cam Ward. Let's say Cam Ward's
yeah.
B minus C plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and I think that if you're a smart one, you probably do this, or do you try to upsell it to like a New York? You upsell it to like the Jets or New Orleans.
So you're talking trade out of the number one.
Because here's my thing. Here's my theory.
Okay.
If you're a new GM, what's going to behoove you more? Getting a quarterback in Cam Ward, if it's like, okay, he's not a 101.
Right.
He's not a 101, and next year's might be a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Or if we want another quarterback, I think there's going to be better, how do I put this? Not better talent, more, what's the right word?
More dynamic talent, maybe?
Like
more sure thing.
More, more high floor, low ceiling guys that'll probably be good later on, because I think that's where like the Cam Ewers, the Ewers, the Jackson Darts, the Allards will be. Where I think if you want, like, you could argue hypothetically, I'm not reaching as much for a guy that we can get maybe if we were to end of first, early to mid second, or it's not going to be as much of a reach. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
Where it's not like we have to make this work if you're in that position. And I think that's just a better spot to be in, because then that pressure's off of you, because the whole thing is you're like, we're going to suck anyway next year.
Right.
What are we better off doing because I don't think they'll necessarily be 3-14 next year, but they could get the first overall pick again next year.
1,000%. Yeah, that roster.
So if that's the logic, you're like, we can kind of have our cake and eat it too, by getting if New Orleans goes number one and takes Cam Ward, are they really gonna they won 5 games? Do you think they're gonna win more than that? They're probably gonna lose more. They might be a 4-win team.
Maybe they were pretty good for part of the year, and then it fell apart, and they fired their coach. So New Orleans definitely has more talent, but yeah.
So it just sort of comes down to do you think you could kind of talk to because the Jets, hilariously, if the Jets hire Rex Ryan, this doesn't work.
No.
Because as much as I think New York fans would just roll over in their graves, and I think the media is downplaying it, I honestly think Rex Ryan going back to the Jets would be the smartest move Woody Johnson can make.
Probably, because the last time they were any good, he was the coach.
It was him. And the whole thing is, I think Rex Ryan could kind of be, this might be a little bit of a take, I think new formed Rex Ryan could be on the same level as good old kneecap eater out in Detroit.
Do you think? I don't know if he's quite there, but
I don't think he could be there, but I think he'd have that same impact of sort of telling his guys, basically, because we've heard the culture thing, and I think he's one of those guys where he could easily be
oh, he could fix the culture.
Go in there,
that's what he does. There
and be and legitimately hey, you guys are good. I know you're good. Guess what? I'm going to make you guys. I'm going to make you great. You just have to believe that I can make you great, and you have to believe that you can be great.
Right, and that's the thing is the Jets have they have talent. On the defensive side of the football, they have good receivers.
Yeah,
they have a good running back.
And what's Rex Ryan?
Yeah,
he's a defensive coach. He coached Darrelle Revis. He can go in there and tell Sauce Gardner, "Hey, I made Darrelle Revis. You want to be the better Darrelle Revis?"
Yeah, and
that's all. That's the whole thing. So I'm you can it, and even more, if the Jets got that pick, they're gonna take Travis Hunter.
Oh, 1,000%.
Hands down.
Yeah,
it'd be and just Rex Ryan's be we're gonna have the 2 best corners in the game.
Oh, Pat Surtain exists, but yeah, okay.
But argumentatively, that's what he's gonna. That
is what he's gonna say. Right? Yeah, 100%.
we're gonna have Sauce Gardner on their number 1. We're gonna have
Travis
Hunter on the number 2,
2.
and we're gonna I'm gonna turn Breece Hall into the best running back in the league. Like that's the mindset that he could do, and that to me that makes the most sense.
And the thing is, especially with Rex Ryan, the last time he won with Mark Sanchez, you just need a okay quarterback, and he will make it work. Like
and you can get that in like the second round, or they can
go grab Andy Dalton, go get Carson Wentz, like
Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, Justin Fields, like any of these guys where it's like, hey, all you have to do is get the ball to the receivers. And mind you, they have the receivers. I think they still have Devontae Adams if he wants to stay.
Probably, yeah.
Even though they sort of have been pointing out that my former team, the Colts, might get them both. That's not going to happen. They're going to get Kirk Cousins. Watch. But that's the whole thing is like when you're looking at it and saying like, oh, what's going to make the most sense? That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of like the Rex Ryan thing to the Jets. I'm in for that.
I mean, I don't know who else wants that job. Rex Ryan, from what I've read, is basically saying like, I'm the best person for the job.
Yeah, and he's
got the bona fides to do it because I think he's crazy enough to want it.
And I think he's probably crazy enough to push back on Woody Johnson's kids, to say, hey, no, 100%. I am. Whereas most coaches, 100%. Especially a new coach that hasn't had experience before, 100%. Is going to roll over. So
100%, where he's going to be like, I won with this organization before. We went to huge straight NFC title games. I beat Peyton Manning in the playoffs. I beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. Like we're gonna, and hilariously enough, I think he's probably right.
I think he is too. Like Rex Ryan talks a big game, but he does back it up. Like he doesn't have a Super Bowl, but like he's actually done some pretty good stuff with what he's had to work with in Buffalo and New York.
But on top of it, like New York, I think the Raiders could go trade up. I don't think they will. I personally, I don't know.
That is the one team I could see the Raiders move up to 2 to get Shador. I think they're the ones to watch out for because they are desperate for a quarterback. Absolutely desperate.
I think it's going to depend on who they get as their head coach because apparently rumors said they might try Gruden again, and if Gruden goes in, I don't think Gruden's the shit.
Fuck would they get Gruden? Why would anyone touch that with a 10-foot pole? That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
I think they want to because I think they want a name. I don't know who would I don't know.
That is
hilarious. The funny thing is like I think hilariously Gruden's found his spot at Barstool where he can just kind of be a psychopath and no one's gonna care.
Did you
like that's your lane, dog?
That is like, yeah. Did you hear that? Apparently they're trying to get Bill Belichick.
That's what they were saying. He said no. Tom called him.
Yeah, Tom was trying to recruit him.
What would it take? Like, what would it take? And he's like, and he said no.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
But I don't. But it all, like I said, I think depends who they hit their head coach.
Agreed.
Because they could just be like, hey, let's wait it out again. Kind of like let's wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know who else would even be out there for them. That's like a name. Oh, Vrabel. Honestly, Vrabel's the biggest.
I think Vrabel's going to New England. I think that's
probably right.
I think that's signed, sealed, and delivered. He's going to New England.
Yeah, but he easily is like the most, to me, would be the most coveted head coach candidate out
there. I think he's going there. Well, Doug Peterson. Isn't Doug Peterson out there?
Oh, yeah, I guess, didn't he? Yeah, he got fired by Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, I mean, Vegas could get Peterson.
They could. Does that excite you, though? Does that excite anybody, Doug Peterson? Like,
it excites me more than some of the other names that I've heard.
That's true.
Out there.
Thing is, though, they might go for like one of the Lions coordinators. Like Aaron Glenn is going to be a big name because of.
I think they could get Aaron Glenn.
Yeah,
they could get Aaron Glenn, but if I'm the other guy, the more exciting guy, their OC, I think he's going to go. I think Chicago. I think Chicago is the guy.
Cliff Kingsbury. That's the guy. That's the big name. That's a Raiders guy to me.
Dude, if Cliff, the best move Chicago, I think there's 3 head coaches for Chicago that like these are the only 3 you should get.
Mm-hmm.
I think is Lions OC.
Yes.
Cliff Kingsbury, that they should have done last year, or Pete Carroll. Those 3 that's it. Those 3, that's it. Like I agree. Anyone else.
I agree with the first 2. I don't agree with Pete Carroll. I think at this point, Pete Carroll's like 75, dude.
You know what I wanted?
rookie quarterback. You don't want a coach that's
when I was a Colts fan. You know what I
Right,
wanted?
back in
What
the
I
day.
wanted the Colts to do?
yeah.
I wanted the Colts to fire Steichen, hire Pete Carroll, sign Sam Darnold, and bring in Juju Smith-Schuster, and just run the
Just
USC
bring
in
the
blue.
USC
Just
stuff
run
back.
the USC in the blue, and just say, "Here's what we're gonna do. Have fun, guys. We're gonna bring back the glory days. We're getting the band back together."
It's like, hey, Reggie Bush, are you done doing college game day? We could use 10 carries a game. We could get you out on the perimeter, dude.
Hey,
I'm sure you're
Reggie.
still faster than these guys.
You're better than JT, right? You want to
Hell
run
yeah.
fucking football? But honestly, like I think those are the only two. But it depends on what happens.
Yeah, we'll find out a bunch over the next couple of weeks with who interviews with who.
I mean, hell,
they're gonna fill out really fast. So
I think it's gonna go faster.
Yeah.
And once
Ben Johnson, by the way, is the Detroit offensive coordinator.
I think Ben Johnson's probably the favorite in Chicago.
Yeah.
Even though I think it should be Cliff Kingsbury, but it depends on what
Kingsbury.
It kind of depends on what he wants to do, because I know there are reports saying he really likes just sort of calling plays.
Right. And that's the thing, though, is like
thing.
sometimes like it makes sense that if that's what you like to do, like why would you bring more responsibility you don't need that screws you from doing your job?
Although if Chicago's smart, they try to get him as the OC and have Ben Johnson and Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive guys.
Do you think they would clash though? Like I have no idea how different or similar their offenses are, but that would always scare me to have two of those.
That wouldn't bother me because my logic would be is like, hey, you coached Caleb in college on the offensive side.
It's true.
What? And sort of just like meld it together and be like, oh, hey, we ran this at we ran this at USC. You kind of run this would, and then kind of like it's sort of like two guys like trying to like break down language to make it fit better.
Gotcha.
Where it just be kind of like, hey, this is what I want to do. What did you run at USC? Oh, you ran this, okay, and then just have. It's like the whole thing is I'm one of those people where I think I'm a firm believer in having more than one expert in the room. Kind of makes
100%.
things work.
Yeah.
Because if you have three guys, like if the offense is sort of like him, Caleb, and like Johnson, Caleb, and Kingsbury, like you have three guys who essentially know the offense or know an offense, and all you have to do is get the lingo down and just be like, hey, we ran this, it's gonna be this. Like I think that just would help a rookie quarterback because he has two guys that are basically be like, hey, it's this, and then I'm more about like put your guys in the position to win, and I think that would put him in the position to win in a division that
division's so good.
It's gonna be gross.
That division's so disgustingly good, and it's gonna be good for like the next couple of years at least. Like,
yeah, so
it's an uphill battle for the Bears, dude.
But like I said, we'll see. I don't know. My gut would be I think Tennessee's in a position where if they wanted to move, they probably will. But two, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, New York might be the most logical one because of what they might do.
Yeah.
I could see New York or I could see Vegas, but here's the thing with Vegas. I think Vegas wants to keep the draft capital.
Probably. They have a lot of holes to fill. That team
so I think that's
really
the biggest problem.
Yeah, no, and that makes perfect sense, right? It depends on where your roster's at. Like,
yeah, because
the Jets have a lot of talent. They don't need the draft capital as much.
Yeah, because the draft, because the whole thing is like for them, if they were with Rex Ryan, they won like he did it with Mark Sanchez at 6.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Right. So I could see the top 2 getting moved out to New England going at 2 and the Jets going to 1.
How hilarious is it that New England was going to get the number 1 overall pick until Gerard Mayo won that last game?
That's why Gerard Mayo got fired.
Well, the thing, I don't understand why they wouldn't just fire him before the game. Like,
that's why
you're not going to screw that for me.
That's what Lovie Smith did. Isn't that what Lovie Smith did?
He did the same thing. Yeah, he basically was like, fuck you guys. I'm winning this game.
But it worked out because they got the better pick. They got the better guy.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Yeah, because it's not a guarantee. But yeah, that's so funny.
Oh, boy.
All right. Is there any more NFL stuff to cover?
I can talk about how I hate my former team.
Oh yeah, let's talk about how you're not gonna fire. Well, you fired your defensive coordinator. Is that right? I think that was.
I didn't fire anyone as far as.
Well, they did get rid of one of your coordinators.
Did they get rid of Gus Bradley?
Yes, I think so. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh yeah, they did fire Gus Bradley.
Yeah,
Good.
okay, that's who I
Dude
thought. Yeah.
sucked. Yeah, they
So
fired Gus
good
Bradley.
call. Good call there.
They should have fired the other. They should have fired Steichen.
I was gonna say the rest of it not so good.
Yeah, the rest of it not so good. So I'm no longer Colts fan because I refuse to root for a team run by. I refuse to work for another team run by a dipshit owner. So long, Indy.
It's been a good run, dude. That yeah, I'm amazed that they didn't fire Steichen and just clean house.
Same.
They need to. They like it doesn't. It hasn't worked. Like so far, where's Steichen's record? Hold on, he was 9-8.
Yeah. So it's because the whole thing is
and the quarterback has made no improvement. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think the whole thing is, and this is just me. I don't think it's. Don't take my word for it. I think the thing is, I think in Irsay's mind is his logic is is there anyone out there that is better than what I have as the GM and a head coach? And argumentatively, the answer is outside of one or two guys, probably not.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's
because the whole thing is if you're looking at it from 10,000 feet, is the Colts job even something somebody wants?
That's a good point.
I don't think it's a job that anyone wants because the whole thing is with Pat McAfee, that's public. There is a public feud between that. Do you want to get? And if you're a coach, do you want to get involved in that nonsense? Probably not.
Not if you're an established coach. That's why someone like Vrabel wouldn't bother. I think if you're an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator looking for your first head coaching gig, I think you're a little more willing to deal with that crap just to get that crack at it. Especially if the other jobs fill up.
Right.
So I could see like Ben Johnson, for example, if for whatever reason the other 4 or 5 teams with open vacancies pass on him, 100% those guys are going to be willing to listen more closer to the Colts offers, you know? Even though as an organization, there's obviously some bad, not great stuff going on, like from ownership down.
So if you're in this position, I don't agree with it, and this is ultimately what led me to not being being a fan of theirs anymore was their captain Zaire Franklin going to McAfee's booth after an overtime win against the fucking Jaguars, shaking hands like he won the goddamn Super Bowl. Like, that doesn't... I'm done. We're done here. Like, you are clearly a fucking child, and I'm not gonna have it. Like, nope, not dealing with this.
So, wait, what did he... So, he went... So, hold on. I didn't hear about any of this.
Hold on. I liked it, because I was like... Or I posted about it, because I was like, this is... Like, I think I even said, like, this is absurd. Did I say? Yeah, it's on my thing. I went, I'm glad to be done with these losers. And it was... And someone put, this is the captain of... This is the type of loser shit Pat McAfee was talking about. Captain of the Colts going over to McAfee suite, retaining to shake their hands. None of the McAfee group was there. Guess this is just the type of culture that we as Colts fans have to put up with now. Pathetic. And DeForest Buckner said, "Why?" He said, "Why did the Colts take a step back?" He said, "Too many." He interrupted the question. Said, "Egos. Too many instances of individual egos getting in the way." And then someone retweet, or I retweeted it with that picture, and I'm like, "This is the problem. Is he goes and does this?
Yeah.
After a win against a shitty team in overtime."
For a game that doesn't matter.
For a game that doesn't matter, and he's treating it as like Super Bowl. And I'm like, this is why you're going to... And it's like, this is why you're going to lose. And this is why you're the only team in the AFC South that has not won it in a decade. This is why. It's this right here. Like, that's the reason.
Yeah, they are...
Is this. And there's no... And as far as we know, there is no accountability anywhere. Like... Anyone else, any other guy on any other team, this guy's gonna get waived and traded. He's gone. They're not gonna put up with it. It's like, you're on whatever shit you have going on. We don't care. He's gone. no questions asked. But here he has to stay.
Yeah, that. Damn. I did not see any of that stuff. But that's crazy.
Yeah. Welcome to my world.
That's a bummer. Yeah, the Colts. They honestly they low-key do need a change in ownership. Like,
it's not gonna happen.
I know it's not, because Jim Irsay is probably one of the most he wants to be Jerry Jones.
The whole thing is, I don't even think necessarily Jim Irsay is a bad owner. I don't think he's necessarily a bad owner per se, because I don't think he's involved with it as much as people want to admit.
It could be. I don't know. It just seems like he obviously had Peyton
But I think
Manning.
he has a problem. I think he has a problem with getting in his own way sometimes, and he doesn't know when to step out.
Yeah,
where it was sort of like the JT stuff, which I'm sort of like hilariously, I think he was right about Jonathan Taylor. But like I kind of agree, I sort of agree with Pat, or it's like trade everyone, get rid of them all. But
yeah, they need a hard reset. Like
I kind of laugh, for it's like, you know what, bring in Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Maybe their kookiness will fix everything. Maybe he'll hand out some ayahuasca to get Zaire Franklin to chill out.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, they just don't have quarterback. I mean, like, Richardson made no improvements this year.
No, he got worse.
And that's the biggest issue, is if you don't have a quarterback, you have zero shot.
Yep.
So what they need to do is put all their resources towards that. Find a coach that can coach that guy, and everything else figure it out later.
Well, the whole thing is, I think they thought they had that because of what he did with Jalen Hurts. Because of what he did with Sirianni. Like Steichen, they say Steichen would really help perfect the whole
Eagles
push thing. And I think they figured, this should work. You know.
The thing is, I don't understand why they would think that would work, because Hurts and Richardson are way different prospects. Hurts was way more NFL ready than Richardson.
But the whole thing is, their logic is the body type, where it's like they could run a similar Eagles offense and kind of just have him like squat his way through it.
That's
the difference.
That's so silly.
But the difference is, and I made this as a joke. I don't think I said it in our chat, but I said it in my buddy's chat.
Yeah. And
I made the comment. I said, "Holy shit, Anthony Richardson is just a reincarnation of what's his face? The Niners drafted and imploded like 4 games into his career.
Trey Lance?
A couple years ago. Yeah, he's just Trey Lance. He's just a reincarnation of Trey Lance.
Yeah. So
like
the
they both
crazy athlete,
1 year,
but
he's a crazy athlete, and they say, "Oh, we can develop him." And mind you, Shane Steichen's is no Kyle Shanahan / Mike Shanahan.
No, he is not.
And it's like, if the Shanahans collectively can't get an athletic guy to work, what makes you think you can?
It's interesting with quarterbacks, is they fall in love with this athletic profile of guys, Richardson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, but they do it in a way where they ignore the skills needed to actually play the position, because like the processing speed and the accuracy.
Sort of wonder, I wonder if people get the thing misconstrued, where it's like they're afraid that they're going to miss on the next Lamar Jackson or like Michael Vick. Where it's like they're so afraid of missing that, where it's like they forget, like, oh yeah, Michael Vick could still throw.
Yeah, he could play quarterback without having to run at all, and he would be effective.
He didn't have to run.
No.
Like, the only reason why Lamar Jackson runs is he has no wide receivers, so he has to run. Like, Michael Vick still had a cannon.
Oh, his arm was insane.
Michael Vick has a cannon. Lamar Jackson has a cannon. I mean, all these running quarterbacks, they all have cannon. They all have arms.
Interested. I want to see Anthony Richardson's college stats versus Lamar Jackson. So, Anthony Richardson, last year in college, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks, 53.8 passing percentage, which is disgustingly low. Lamar Jackson, 27 touchdowns, 10 picks, 59.1%. Head and shoulders above. So yeah, they're looking at the athlete, they're not looking at the actual quarterback.
Well, what was Trey Lance?
Ooh, that's a good one too. I will say Trey Lance was playing in Division Two. So
Yeah,
there's
no, I know.
Trey Lance was his last year of a full time starter was 66.9%, 28 touchdowns, 0 picks. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he dominated
He
it.
dominated. But again, in North Dakota State, Division Two, they've been a power for the last decade. So I don't know if that's a
I don't
hard
know if
one
it
to
matters.
compare, because he's playing much less competition.
Even somebody said it here. The sports memory says Anthony Richardson is just the Trey Lance without the exciting college career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So
Like,
what do,
that's the problem.
what do you think of the Colts trading up to grab either Shador Sanders or Cam Ward?
Unless you're flipping Anthony Richardson.
Which maybe.
Um,
I mean,
if you're doing that, I'm all for it because I think you got the jump ship now.
100%.
But it would
Wally's
have, it would have,
still a little
it would
unknown.
have to. The whole thing is it would have to be to Cleveland because I ain't trading him to Tennessee.
You don't want him in division. Okay. Yeah.
There's a rule of thumb. I wouldn't trade him to in division.
Interesting.
But if you're looking at like the team, like I said, if there's a team that doesn't need it, like I'll send him to New York. That's fine. In terms, so like me, like if they were to do that, Tennessee's out. It would have to be to Cleveland.
Cleveland or
Like Cleveland,
potentially the
Raiders, maybe.
maybe
again,
Jacksonville might trade back potentially.
Same thing in division. But
yeah, that is in division. Yeah, that's good. Good point. Good point.
It depends on where they want to go. Like New Orleans could be an interesting one, where it's like maybe 9.
Right, but at that point, Shador and Cam Ward are gone, in all likelihood.
Like I said, my thinking would be if you're gonna do this and sort of play this game, this is where Ballard's bullshit of second round picks could come into play because if they're at 14, they could get value trade out to like 33 or something.
Get like Quinn Ewers or something.
Yeah, get like Quinn. Don't over try to overpick for like Ewers. Get Ewers, or hell, if you want to and you think, hey, he's a decent enough talent to take there, I don't think there's a harm in it. But it depends on knowing Ballard and his dumb tomfoolery. He's gonna draft like another corner that's gonna suck. But
probably
if they were, it's one of those things where like if they were to go up to Cleveland, sure. But like I said, it depends on.
That would cost you a lot though. To go up from 14 to 2, that's a lot.
That's why I'm saying like I'd rather be in the position of like, hey, if you're trying to get rid of Anthony Richardson, trade up to 9. Yeah, I would say trade up to like 9 cheaper. Or 10.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh well, you trade Anthony Richardson for your pick. Like you get a first round pick and Anthony Richardson, and then they fall back. So it's like, hey, you guys missed out on a quarterback. Here's a quarterback.
Right.
It's sort of then it leaves the Colts where it's like, okay, I guess you are going to get Kirk Cousins, which I assume they are.
Yeah, they are definitely a Kirk Cousins team. It's
like if that's and the whole thing is my head. If realistically, it's like I guess trying to walk yourself into into it working would be okay. They get Quinn Ewers at 9 or something, and it's like, well, he's not start. But then it's like, deja vu for Kurt and the nukes going off in his head, the red light flashing.
That's true.
But I think it'd be a different thing because I do think if they did get like a Quentin Ewers and they signed Kirk Cousins for nothing, it would be Kurt, you're starting. We don't really care where you are. We want you to, if you get us, you get some playoffs, cool. We suck again. It doesn't really matter. We just want to have Ewers learn.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I don't think Kurt's gonna care if that's the case. If he knows the job's his, regardless, because they're like, we don't want to compete per se.
It's true, though. With Kirk Cousins, though,
but the whole thing is a shitty Kirk Cousins got you to essentially 500. So it's like he could probably walk you into a better game with a similar-ish team.
100%, especially because like Atlanta's defense this year was horrific,
and Indy's is okay, and it's one of those guys where and it's one of those things where it's like I think Kirk could help with the culture because you're not looking to he's an older guy. And you're not going to be looking to like some 20-something to sort of be the guy.
Yeah, they definitely need.
And the same thing. And then the same thing with And the same thing with Quinn Ewers. It's just like I know Sark when Sark was, you know, I think Sark runs a tight ship, especially in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like then you have your guy behind you who's kind of going to be used to it,
right?
Or the third option sucks so bad that you get Arch and you just bring another Manning into Indy and run that back again.
Go to the Indy Denver pipeline, dude. Let's go.
That's what there you go. See,
to be fair, because Bo Nix is already 26, dude. So by the time
there you go.
he ages out, Arch is like 9 years younger. Let's go.
Arch is there.
Hey,
revitalizes.
I support this idea.
Just so you
hey, give me another Manning, dude. I'm in.
This is when you win another Super Bowl.
Hell yeah. Hey, I'll go 20 years in between them. That's fine. At least we have some. I'll take them.
At least you have something. Oh, yeah. By the way, speaking of that, you know what I found out about this stat recently that I think's hilarious?
What?
There's a handful of teams that have gone to their conference title game at least once a decade from like in the last 30 years. Guess who one of those teams are?
That's been to their conference title game every decade?
Every decade.
In the last 30 years?
Yes.
Well, the Broncos have.
Yeah, so shut the hell up. You're going to the title game once every decade.
No, that's what I'm saying. But so this is why the last 8 years have been weird. So from the 1980s, like 1985, essentially when John Elway started, up until 2015, we had been under 500 2 times in 30 years. Between having John Elway, and then there was a little bridge gap with Brian Greasy, and that was one of those shitty years. And then Jake Plummer, and then Jay Cutler, and then there was kind of the Tim Tebow stuff, and then Peyton Manning again. So that's why the last 8 years have been tough, because we are not used to being this bad for this long. And we're finally back, dude. Bo Lever, dude.
Bo Lever, he's gonna lead you guys to the promised land.
Hey, how crazy would it be if the Broncos actually win on Sunday? Their defense is pretty nasty. Their defense is nasty.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I was laughing where it's like they don't have the worst point, but they don't have the worst point spread.
They don't, and that's the thing is like, the Broncos. I don't expect them to win 100%. Like, but we are also not the worst team in the playoffs. I would argue the Texans are worse right now. The Steelers are worse. The Rams are worse, probably. Yep. Like we're like probably like the 10th best team in the playoffs. So I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
We didn't just sneak in, even though we kind of did.
All right, anything else?
No. I'm watching the Nuggets kill the Clippers right now. It's really nice.
Congratulations.
So, let's go Nuggets. Jokic isn't playing because Serbian Christmas is on Monday. Was on Monday, so people are saying that he's just been hungover.
He drank too much.
Yeah,
he's been hungover for 3 days.
For 3 days. I don't think that's what happened. Last night, though, if that was the only game he missed, was the one last night. I was like, maybe
that'd been funny.
Or we get a Jordan flu game out of him. But yeah, the Nuggets are good.
Oh boy,
makes me happy. But yeah, I got nothing else.
Alrighty.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back Saturday with Bryce, and we'll talk something. I don't know, some sports. We'll figure it out. Bye.
Yep.